Happy Christmas and welcome to Write Ideas with Susan. Today I have some children's picture books that I'm going to share with you and some Bibles to help you teach the Christmas story to children. So let's get started. I love it when the Christian bookstore has their 20% off sale, and there was an entire wall dedicated just to Christmas picture books. Where do I start? I was specifically looking for books that would be good to use in teaching a group of children with larger illustrations or have extra ways to interact with the story. Another thing that I look for in children's picture books are ones that are true to the biblical narrative, both in words and in pictures. And sometimes it's really difficult to find this, so I found a little way that I can adapt them and use them that way. Here's the first book I'm going to show you. It's called A Look Inside Nativity. It's a lift and flap book which kids absolutely love. They love looking under the flaps. And what I tend to do with my classes is I read the story through once and I tell them I'm going to read it through once and I'm not going to lift any of the flaps. But then when we read it through a second time, I'm going to let the children who all listen quietly and sit quietly come up and start looking through the little peekaboo flaps. And this way they listen really carefully that first go, and then as we read it the second go, I let them come and have a look and get a child to come up and open the flaps. Now you may notice that I have some pieces of paper on some of the pages like this, okay? Now the reason I have done that is because quite a few parts of this book is not actually true to the biblical text. So let me just show you what I've done. Is I've taken the biblical text and put it on top of the narrative that the author has chosen. So let me just give you an example. The author has put in this one, "You can stay the night in the stable," said the kind woman. "It is a bit dark and the animals are quite smelly. Even so, we can make it cozy." Now, there is no innkeeper in the story whatsoever, and so kids will tend to believe that there's an innkeeper and that she was a woman, and it's not even in the story. So all I do is just put the biblical text on top of it, and then I tell the story that way. And so that's how I deal with it. But I love the interactivity of this book. I love that it's cardboard, and it's going to be really sturdy. My kids had one when they were little, and they just absolutely loved it. So this one is quite a nice book, and it's quite a good size once you open it up. This one is called My Giant Fold-Out Book at Christmas, and I love this one because of the illustrations and how big the pictures are and the pages fold out to. So look how big this one folds out to, and that's great for working with a group of children. They're very brightly colored. It's done in nice card stock as well, so it's quite sturdy feeling. And look at this journey to Bethlehem. This is really impressive, isn't it? And they show just the long journey. So many things to talk about in this picture. So I really like this. It gives you an idea that it was a long journey. It would have taken a week or so for them to travel. So I like how that page folds out. And then here is the stable, and it opens on both sides. Again, beautiful pictures on both sides. I hope that's all on the camera, but isn't that lovely? Did such a nice job of that. Kids would find that very inviting. Lots of things to look at and talk about. And then we have the angels. This is one of my favorite pages, and the shepherds. There's the shepherds, and then look how this opens up downwards. Isn't that lovely? I like how they have also done the biblical accurate representation of the wise men, that they did show up at a house and not in the stable. Now the thing with this book, there are some things that are not biblically true to the narrative, so I would again be putting some things on top of some of the narrative that is not true to the Bible story. But it is a really lovely book. Now let me show you this book. This is a very big picture book, and it's computer generated illustrations, and I ordered this one online from CEP. You can actually order it from the Bible bookstore as well. And I love the pictures, and the thing that I really like about it, it is true to the biblical Christmas story, which is so good. And the size is great for working with a big group of children. And I love the pictures. Don't they look neat? They're computer generated images. And look how they display inside the stable. This also comes with companion little books for the children. And if you've ever used a big picture book, as a classroom teacher, I loved using big picture books and then the companion little books. There's so many activities you can do for that. I'll put a link below, and there's an article there that teaches you how you use big books for teaching, and it's fantastic. And here they are coming to the house. Again, this is visually and accurate as well in the wording. So I really, really like this book, and I highly recommend it. And apparently there's even more in this series of large jumbo-sized books. So this would be an excellent one to use with a group of children. As far as Bibles go, I have a few favorites. My favorite to use with younger children is the Beginner's Bible. It has just enough of the Bible story detail without being too wordy. I like how it separates the Christmas story into several smaller stories that can be taught over a number of weeks. The only drawback is that it's smaller in size. There are 2 Storybook Bibles that I like to use after I've already taught the Bible account. The Jesus and Big Picture Storybook Bibles both have larger size page, which is great for group teaching. They're written in an engaging storytelling form with beautiful illustrations. Showing them up on the screen with a read aloud option or through video clips are a great follow-up after I've taught the story. So there's just a few ideas for using picture books or children's Bibles for teaching the Christmas story. You probably know some really good children's Christmas picture books, so if you do, could you please put them in the comments below so people visiting here can learn that? And I put all the links to the various books and Bibles that I've showed you today down below, as well as some articles on Christmas picture books and Bibles and some of the authors as well, so you can check that out when you have time. And if you like this video and you found it helpful, please hit the like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't had a chance yet. And if you have time, I have a playlist on Christmas-themed teaching ideas that you can have a look at. You might find something helpful there. Again, thanks so much for watching, and Happy Christmas! Here's a little something extra I learned last night at the dinner table. We were talking about the term Merry Christmas and Happy Christmas. And when I first came to Australia, everybody was saying Happy Christmas. And my husband explained why, because years ago, if you said Merry Christmas, Merry was associated with being a bit tipsy, merry, a bit drunk. And so in Christian circles, they wouldn't have said Merry Christmas. They tended to say Happy Christmas, and that's why that is. And then my adult children were like, oh, I've never thought of Merry Christmas as being drunk. But so they don't say Happy Christmas, they say Merry Christmas because it doesn't have that background to it. So it's interesting how cultures change, isn't it? But anyway, have a Happy Christmas or a Merry Christmas.